Hi Susie, this is a tutorial to show you how to make quick and simple changes to your website. So your website has been rebuilt using Oxygen, which is a type of builder. I really like Oxygen because you can build pretty much anything that you want, and it keeps it all really clean, which helps to keep your website nice and fast. Now if we go into the dashboard, you can see under pages all the pages that make up your website. And if we go into published here, you can see that you've currently got 17 different pages. Now, if you want to go into any of these pages to make any changes, if you go into edit, this takes you into the main WordPress edit page, and this is where you can make any changes to your SEO. So if we open up the meta boxes at the bottom, this is where your meta description is, and any information about your SEO from Yoast. So if you wanted to make any changes to your SEO, this is where you would do it in here. But then to make any changes to the actual page, you need to go into Oxygen. So you would click on Edit with Oxygen, and this brings you into the Oxygen editing screen. And as you can see, it gives you a preview of what's showing on the page. And then this is the Oxygen panel on the left-hand side. So if you click on anything, it gives you all the options for whatever you've selected. So I've selected the heading, and you can see here you can go in and you could make changes on the left here that affect what shows on the screen. You can also double-click into the box on the right-hand side and make changes in there as well. Now, if you've made a change and you wish you hadn't, there is an undo button at the top here. So if you click on undo, that will undo what you've just done. And also you could press exit to WP admin. And if you click on leave site without saving any changes, it warns you that changes you've made may not be saved. And that's fine, because in this case, we don't want to save the changes. And then that brings you back into the main edit screen. And if we go and visit the site, you can see that no changes have been made. Now, you could also go straight to the Oxygen editing screen from looking at a page. So if we click, for example, on About Us, and then go up to Oxygen at the top here and click on Edit with Oxygen. This brings you straight into the Oxygen editing screen where you can go ahead and make any changes that you want. You can open up a structure panel on the right hand side. If you hover over this here, you've got structure, and if you click on this, this shows you all the elements that make up this page. So as you click on the different items, it shows you what you've selected here on the right. So you can see here we've got a heading, and the left-hand panel gives you all the options to change the heading. Now, I expect mainly you're going to be wanting to change the text. But just so that you know what else is in here, you can change the text colour, you can change the font size, the weight. The tag tells you whether it's a heading 1, a heading 2, a heading 3. These are all things that are useful for SEO and also for people that use screen readers. It helps them to navigate what is most important on the page. Under Advanced, you've got a bit more information, so you can change the background of the section that you've got selected. You can change the size, the layout, the typography, whether there's borders, loads of information on here. But you don't need to worry about too much of it. Mainly you're going to be changing the actual text, which you would do by either double clicking in the box and then making any changes in there, or clicking in the box on the left and typing directly in there. Now this is a rich text box. To change the text in a rich text, you double click on it and it opens up this little box here. And you've probably seen something similar when you've used WordPress before. So you can change the type of text, a paragraph, heading, and select, make something bold or not, add links, all sorts of things to rich text. And this is rich text as well. So you can see here, these have got some links. To add a link, you click where you want to put the link, you click on Insert or Edit Link, and then you would paste the URL of the link that you want to put in there. You can see that this section here is made as 2 columns. Within the columns you've got your divs. The first div has got the rich text in, and the second div is your photo. Now this photo is here as a background, so if you wanted to change that photo, you would click on Advanced, go to Background, and this is where it is. So then you would select whatever photo you wanted to use, and it would fit into that box. We don't want to save this though. We don't want to save the changes that we've made. So we're going to exit, and you can either exit to the admin or you can exit to the front end. Let's exit to the front end this time. So we're going to leave site because we don't want to save the changes. And you can see that nothing's been saved there. Now if we go back in, sometimes when you've just come out of Oxygen, you'll see that it disappears from the top here. So if you notice that Oxygen isn't there, if you just click on refresh on your URL bar to reload the page, you'll see that it just pops back up again. Okay, now let's go on to home, and we'll go into edit with Oxygen. This page has got a few different elements on it. So you can see this is a heading. This is a button. Now a button has slightly different features. You can change the URL here that the button is linked to. The content for the text is here. You can change the button style, size, colours, all that sort of thing in here. It's all set up so all the buttons are the same style, and it should all look consistent all the way through. But if you wanted to change the text or where the button linked to, that's how that works. And this section here has a background image. So you can see that would be set in here. You would change the image that you wanted on the background in there. You can have it fixed so that it stays where it is as you're scrolling, or you can have it so that it scrolls with the image. We don't want to save any of that, so I'm just going to exit back to the front end, leave without saving. So let's go back in. I'm going to refresh the page, go to edit with Oxygen. So that's background images. If you can see that there's an image there but you can't see the image within a section, then that is probably why, because it's been set up as a background image. Now let's open up the structure so you can see what we've got here. So we've got 4 sections on this page. The first one just has the heading in. The second one has this background image and a button. And the third one is this section. Now this has the slider in, which is set up to show specific products that you've selected. So you shouldn't need to change anything on here, but if you wanted to change any of the formatting of it, then this is where you would do it. But the final section has a heading and then a products list that again is set up to show your selected products. And we've got a button at the bottom which goes to the gift shop. Now we don't want to save anything, so we're going to exit. But if you did want to save changes that you've made, say you've made some changes to your heading, you would just click on Save Changes at the top before exiting. We're not going to, but this warning is quite good. It's just a reminder that you haven't saved it. Okay, now some of these sections are created as a template, so you wouldn't be able to change them by going into Oxygen. You already have been using templates as you've been using the template for the header slider. And these are all found in the template section. So if we go down to Oxygen and templates, you will see that we've got quite a few different ones here. The main one is your header and footer. So if we click on Edit with Oxygen, you can now select any of these options to make any changes to them in the header and in the footer. Now the year is set up to automatically change every year. This is a bit of code that I've popped in. But if you wanted to change anything in either of these, this is where it would be done. These are just another menu that we've set up at the bottom that goes to your other pages. And again, you would just save the changes or just exit. We're going to go back to admin without saving. And then your slider is back in templates, and it's your top bar slider here. So if you click on edit, edit with oxygen, this brings you into the oxygen area where you can make any changes to the slider at the top. And again, I like to go into the structure area because you can see the different sections that we've got set up here and make any changes to them. And each slider is made up of 2 divs. One's got the text in, the other one's got the button. So if you wanted to change either of these, you could click on the text and then just go in and make any changes. If you wanted to change the button, you would change the URL in here. If you wanted to create a new one, you would just duplicate it. So you can right click and click on duplicate, or you can click on this little pencil and click on duplicate. And that just creates a brand new copy. You can double click on the heading and change the text here, new slider, and then you can click on the text and add whatever you wanted to add in. And then the button, I'm going to change that in the left here, new button. And then this is just going to go to your home page. And you can see if we click on the slider, our new one is here. Now I'm not going to publish it, but if you clicked on save, that would then make it live. But any changes that you make until you click save aren't live on your website. So it's quite nice to know that you can play around with it, and as long as you don't save it, no changes will be made. So then you can click on exit. I'm going to go back to admin and then back to the templates. You might want to make changes to open days. So if you click on edit with oxygen, and then you would change any dates in here in the same way. So you've got your text box and you would click in here to make any changes. This is an image. So if you wanted to change the image for this, it's not a background image, it's just an image that's been put in. You would click on browse, select the image that you wanted and pop it in. I'm just going to click on undo. Now say you wanted to add a new section in here. Let's click on add element. You could add a new section, and the easiest way to move things around is by using the structure panel. So let's say we're going to put this right up to the top. Whoops-a-daisies. So we've added a new section right at the top. Now within that section you can put whatever you like. So we could add a new heading. If you wanted to center it, you would select the whole section and click on center. And then underneath the heading, we might want to add another image. So let's find image. And then you could either upload your new image or select an image that you've already got. If you wanted to add some text, you would click on text if it was just plain text. And then say you wanted to add a button, you would find your button here. And then you could change the colors of the button. Now, if you click on button color, you can see that I've set up your global colors here. So you can see it makes it a bit easier. If you wanted to add a rich text section, add that like that, and then type in whatever rich text you wanted to add with any colors or links. And then if you wanted to check to see how it's going to look on different layouts, for example on mobile, you can click on these little icons at the top here. And then any changes that you make to it just in this mobile form are only going to apply to the mobile view. So if I wanted to add a bit of padding, for example, on top and bottom, I could do that there. And if I go back here, it wouldn't apply, so you can see. And we're going to delete that, and then we're going to exit out and go back to admin, and we're going to leave site. So you can see here the FAQs, we've got the open days here. Now, if you went to Oxygen, edit with Oxygen, on the FAQ page, you can see that all of these are set up as an accordion. So you've got your row header, and then you've got a div and the heading. So if you wanted to change that text, you would click on it in here or in here. And you've got an icon, which is what we click to open up or close it. And then you've got the accordion content, which has got the text in. And again, this is rich text, so you would double click on it to open it and change it. You shouldn't need to worry about this too much. If you wanted to change anything, you could just scroll down to where you wanted to change. Click on whatever it was you wanted to change and double click on it, and then you can make the changes in there. But I think it's quite nice to know how it's set up within the structure panel, just for for your own sake. Open days in here. You can see that when you click on it, it's telling you that it's a reusable part. And that's because that is taking that information from your template. And I've set it up that way so that if you change your open days, you only have to change the one template and it will update it wherever it is on the website. So if you wanted to go from here, if you clicked on it and thought, oh, this is the wrong place for it, you could then click on Open and Edit Reusable Part. This will tell you that you're leaving this site. We've not made any changes. And it will take you straight to the Open Day template, where then sometimes you'll get this warning. It says, Oxygen is open in another tab or by another user. Please close the other instance of the builder and refresh this page to edit. So if you haven't got Oxygen open anywhere else, click on Open Anyway, or you can just click on Refresh and it will give you the button. This is to prevent you from opening two different instances of the page and making different changes, which could get confusing. So then you click on Edit with Oxygen, and we're back in here where you can make your changes. Okay, so that's Oxygen templates. You shouldn't need to worry too much about any of these other than the top bar slider and the open days. The rest of them are mainly formatting for the different sections. So your blogs should all be fairly straightforward for you to pop into and make any changes to as normal. So you would just click on Edit Post up here. And these should be the same as your post before. You just type in your heading and then you pop in any text that you want. And then on the right hand side, you can select your featured image and you can edit any excerpts. This is what will show on your blog page. So if I go back to the blogs, this is the excerpt here, the little amount of text that tempts somebody to go and read more. Now to add a new post, you can go and do this from your dashboard. All of your posts are underneath posts. So you can add a new post from here. Then you would just type in your heading, type in your text. You can add any blocks, so you could add an image, a heading, all sorts of things. So you click on Browse All. This gives you all the stuff that you can add into your post. So if you wanted to add a video or a gallery, some images, you would do that from here. You can add links, you can add a list, lots of different things. Then if you click on Post, you can set your featured image, and then you can add your excerpt. Here's my excerpt. And you can add your focus keyword and anything else that you wanted to add. You can also see your Yoast SEO down here. You can move this up and down so it gives you more screen to play with. So you can go in, you can see I've put the focus key phrase in here. You can add your meta description. Then you would click on Publish or Save Draft. If you save a draft, you can preview it before posting. See what it looks like. Make sure that it looks how you want. If I close that and then open this back up, I want to choose some categories. So you click on categories, and I want this to go under geraniums and care and maintenance. You can select the primary category. And if you wanted to, you can add any tags in here as well. So let's save the draft again and preview. And you can see now we've got the categories underneath. And if you click on one of those, it takes you to everything else in that category. Oh, including anything that's private. Okay, so I think that's most of the things that you would want to know for creating a post. But if there's anything that you're not sure about, you can let me know. It's quite good, this. You can add all sorts of columns, and you can do pretty much anything that you want to within the WordPress dashboard. And there are certain things that you can do from within this area as well. If you click on Quick Edit, if you realise that you've created a blog and you forgot to put your categories in, you can just quickly do it from here. You can change the categories of any. You can also change the date that it's going to be published. You can change it from draft to published if you wanted to, or from published to draft if you wanted to change it back. You can change the author, and you can see here it's changed those categories and it's made you the author. Now I'm going to delete that because we don't want that post, but so let's click on bin. So that should be pretty much the same as it was previously when you created posts, but if you have any questions, let me know. Obviously the WooCommerce area hasn't really changed. It's only the formatting for the pages, so this should all be the same as it was before. The check and log email, this shows you all your email logs. So you can see that they're all going through okay. That's really useful for troubleshooting if you ever have a problem with someone placing an order and the email hasn't gone through. Making backups, if you ever wanted to make one and keep it for yourself, you would do that in here. If you went to all-in-one WP migration, you can see any backups that are on there already. This one, I did one just 6 days ago at the beginning of the month. So you could download that, so you could click on it and just download, and that would save a copy to your computer. Or if you wanted to create a new one, you could go to export site to file, then it will create the backup, and then you can choose where you want to save it to. I tend to keep one backup on here, and I also save the last backup to my computer, so there's always a copy if we need it. And Cloudflare also create regular backups as well, so we should be covered from every direction. So I think that's pretty much most of the changes that you would want to do, but if I've missed anything, then let me know. Okay, cheers Susie, you take care.